Hello, I am Simulated Irk and welcome to Trams Thursday, or Thursday Trams, whatever you would like to prefer. This is episode number 2 of Frankfurt Tram Simulator, created within Train Simulator. I hope you enjoyed the previous episode, which was originally recorded as Train Simulator episode 38 or 39 in 2019, March 2019, and so much water has passed under the bridge just over 2 years later, that is for sure. On today's journey we will be travelling along the U2 line. We'll be starting deep underneath Frankfurt City. We'll be heading out to the suburbs and then we'll be coming back in for about an hour of tram driving along the U2 line. There's certainly lots to see, lots to do. I have my list of destinations that I have gone and actually typed up. There's a rather extensive manual which you can download for this DLC. And what happens with that is it goes through all the different buttons, what they do, what happens when you press them, keypad shortcuts, etc. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But there's lots of buttons that you can press, in addition to the usual train sim buttons and functions and what they all do. And then it comes down to setting up the passenger information system, which is what we'll do in a moment. And unfortunately, in the manual, it's the list of codes that you need for the passenger information system extends over 2 pages. So what I did, I spent about 20 minutes the other day typing up in a more legible form, in more of a one-page format. You know, it could indeed be a one-page format, similar to what you would actually put in your work bag, or it'll be on the side of the train or the tram inside the driver's cab, just so you can remember what all the different numbers are, because after a while you might remember them, but in some cases maybe not. You might have to work a different line to what you normally work, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what's that code? So I've compiled a list of all the codes because I'll be needing it over the next few weeks. So let's get ready to go. We're on the U2 line today, starting deep underneath Frankfurt. I'm Simulated Irk. Come and join me for episode number 2 of Frankfurt Tram Simulator, part of the Ding 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 Tram and Light Rail playlist on Simulated Irk. So here we are. We're at the start of our route. Let's have a quick look outside, but we can't really. Alright, let's fire this tram up because it's a dead tram. It's a dead tram at the moment, so we'll turn our key on. And then battery on. Pantograph up, and main switch on. Now that will fire everything up. Now in the meantime, we can go to our passenger information screen, which is what I was mentioning in the introduction. Your curse is basically like your sequence number or your shift number. So we'll just put in 01 Now, we're on the U2 line. So I'm just opening up my document, which you can't see me pull up. So we have to put in the number of the station that we're at. So we go to line, and it's the U2 line, so that's 92. So you put in 92. Okay. And then we go to the Zeal. So our first number, because we're at Südbahnhof, is 712. So 712. Okay, and then our destination, which is the final stop where we're stopping, is Bad Homburg Gonzenheim, and that's 716. 716. Enter. And we should be okay now. Right. Alright, we are ready to go. In, forward, and so no need to rush for this first one because it's just here. So we'll go up to the H4 marking. Now the usual thingies don't work. So we'll open the doors on the left, and now we'll have a look outside. So there's our tram there. We've got our destination up. We can't really look at the front at the moment. So we'll go back inside. We'll close the doors. That's our bell to tell us that it's all clear and that all the doors are closed. You also get a green light above the door close button. Now we can manually trigger the announcements ourselves by pressing Q. And I hope that's worked. The brakes are fantastic. I'll just go forward a little bit more to the H4. Open the doors. Now, I get the feeling that I've done something wrong with the... there we go. Okay, we're on track now. Okay, so we can close our doors. Get a green light. The green light can be hard to see above the door close button. Okay, you should be able to hear the tram now. I just unfortunately had the level down. So Willie Bread and Platts is our next station. So you have to wait for the bar on the HUD to get all the way across regardless of anything else. Close the doors.
Nächste Station, Hauptwache Zeil. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den S-Bahn-Linien S1 bis S6, S8 und S9 sowie zu den U-Bahn-Linien U6 und U7. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
That wasn't very good. Should actually have a look at it. Oh, that's freaky. Maybe that wasn't the best camera angle. Let's get back in the cab. So you have to continually make adjustments. That wasn't very good.
Nächste Station, Eschenheimer Tor. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 36. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
In reality, I probably wouldn't have even opened the doors at that station, would have just carried on to the next one. What you have to make sure to do when you have your HUD, your heads-up display on the screen, you have to make sure that it's not covering any of the buttons, because otherwise the buttons won't work. I can basically see where the next station is. It's that close.
Nächste Station, Grünburgweg. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Oh, that must be like a reversing or a turning loop. There we with the platform so the driver doesn't have to walk through the tram. In reality, I probably would walk through the tram. Now, unlike Tram Sim based in Vienna that we could also see as part of the Ding 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 playlist for trams at light rail, these trams have platforms on either side, and they also have controls at either end, whereas the Vienna system is single-ended and it only has the doors on the right hand side. Just two different ways of operating. You either have double-ended.
Nächste Station Holzhausenstraße, Uni Campus, Westend. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 36. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
You either have double-ended trams or you have a single-ended trams with loops and turnaround points. Now, in reality, you'd be looking through your mirrors, but the mirrors aren't modelled.
Nächste Station Maxwell Adikes Allee, Polizeipräsidium. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 32 und 64. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Aus technischen Gründen kann an der Station Maxwell Adikes Allee die letzte Tür dieses Zuges nicht geöffnet werden. Nächste Station Dornbusch, Hessischer Rundfunk.
Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 34. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now I appreciate that in the city there's not a lot to see now. We're in the above ground section. There's a lot more to see now.
Nächste Station, Fritz-Tarnow-Straße. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So now we're in the above ground section. We need to pay attention as well to traffic around us and also the tram signals. Colleagues coming in the other direction. We'll be doing the return trip. We'll be doing the return trip soon. So there's the back of our tram. So you can see we've got a fairly long unit. We're a H4, so we've got 4 2-car units. And I have to zoom in again.
Nächste Station, Hügelstraße. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 39 und 69. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So it can be on off. Often it could be just a short burst of acceleration, a little bit of coasting, and then when you get closer to the train station, some braking. So we've got a crossing here, level crossing, a road crossing. So we do have to be careful to make sure that we have the authority to pass, which is the signal on the right hand side pointing upwards, right there. Alright. So we'll close our doors.
Nächste Station, Lindenbaum. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So it looks like we've got another turnaround point that we can use if we had to turn around early. Nächste Station, Weißer Stein. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur S-Bahn-Linie S6 sowie zu den Buslinien 63, 66 und 69. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts. Oh, the brakes are so good. Alright. Alright.
Nächste Station, Heddernheim. Sie befinden sich in einem Zug der Linie U2. Zur Weiterfahrt in Richtung Genheim mit der Linie U1, in Richtung Oberursel-Hoher Markt mit der Linie U3 oder in Richtung Riedberg mit der Linie U8, bitte hier umsteigen. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 60. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
now we have to obey the signal on the right, not on the left, which is a little strange. Which is a little strange for me, because usually I'm used to working signals on the left. But I do heaps of both because of train sim and tram sim, that a lot of the time I'm in Europe, so they're on the right. On the right hand side, having a bit of a sleep.
Nächste Station, Sandelmühle. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 29. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
My timing will get better as we go on.
Nächste Station, Redwiese, Mertonviertel. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts. Station Karlbach. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Linie U9 in Richtung Genheim vom gegenüberliegenden Bahnsteig sowie zu den Buslinien 28 und 29. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now there's actually quite some distance between this station and the next one. It's over a kilometre. So we are going up an embankment, up a hill. So I dare say in time to come, if this area got developed, they could put some more stations in relatively easily.
Nächste Station Bonnamies Mitte. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 27. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So in front of us, that signal there on the right hand side was actually showing as being at stop as we were arriving. I dare say that was because of the crossing. Oops. But it did change as we were on approach. So our next station is for nearly 2 kilometres now. We might have a look outside and show you what's going on out there. Station, but this is one thing that I know people have been divided on. Do they want the this sort of view where they can see the tram or the train in action, or do they want always in the cab, always looking out? Sometimes I think it's a shame not to be able to see the vehicles themselves and see the environment that they're running through.
Nächste Station Obereschbach. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien des Stadtverkehrs Bad Homburg. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Early with the brakes there, and this will get better in time as I get used to the line and the tram and how it operates and the environment that I'm in. This should be our penultimate stop. Now I notice now it's just showing Gonzenheim on the destination board now, where it was showing something else a little bit earlier on. Alright, we'll get back in the cab, close our doors. Up to our penultimate station, and that's in 2.5 kilometres away. So we'll go outside again. Now, just got to adjust the camera. Here either, which might account for the long time in between stations.
Station Gonzenheim. Fahrtende, bitte aussteigen. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien des Stadtverkehrs Bad Homburg.
I think I might have got a station ahead. Oh, it must have been when I was outside I advanced it, I think. This isn't Gonzenheim. what happened? Okay, we'll close the doors now. Speed section coming up, 25 kilometres an hour. Turnaround points up here. So we're going to the left. Probably Gonzenheim. I don't know which one's my horn. Beep beep. So I've got to remember this time on the left. And it's automatically changed to not in service. So that is the end of our forward journey on the U2. So we get off this tram and then we'll go on to the next one. And we'll show you what else is going on around Simulated Irk. And on what day when it comes to transport. Back soon. Alrighty, so we have finished the first round, and now we're basically going to get on another tram. We're going to get on another tram, and we're basically going to do the same journey that we just did, but in the opposite direction. Hope you are enjoying the very early stages of this series, and we're now having a look at some of the other things that you can see on Train Simulator. Trains and trams now together on Thursdays, buses and trucks together on Tuesdays, planes on Fridays. On Simulated Earth, I've spent a lot of time working on new playlists, etc. So all the train simulators, doesn't matter what platform, pun partly intended, they have a new playlist. I choose you. Trams and light rail like this, and also the Vienna version, they're on a playlist called Ding Ding Ding. The buses are on one together, and that one's called This Bus Was Due Out 5 minutes ago. And then there's a whole heap of other simulations across Simulated Earth as well that have their own playlist. The Emergency Services Role Plays, the Workshop Wednesdays is worth noting, Train Mechanic Simulator, Bus Mechanic Simulator, and also Train Station Renovation. They're all together on Wednesdays. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. There is a massive amount of stuff already down the pipe and into your ears and into your eyes, to use an old podcast cliche that I used to use many years ago. And there's a lot more coming, including this line here, the 5 circle line. Now we're at the other end of the platform, and it is totally dead, even though in real life it would not be dead, but we have to make it undead. So we're on a slightly different layout. So we have to turn the key on, and then it's the same sort of process, but the buttons are on the top here. Battery on, pantograph up, main switch. In reality, you wouldn't have to do this in real life. Let's open the doors while we work. So our KERS, or our shift, we're going to call this train number 2. Our linear, or our line, we're on the U2, so that's 92. Now our Zeal, our original our origin station is 716. 716. Okay. And our destination is 712. So 712. Okay. And then we press it. So it's in the system. Oh, so at the top now, it's showing Frankfurt, Südbahnhof, and we've put in shift number 2, so that's appeared. So that's appeared there, shift number 2. So we'll get in. It's time for us to go. I'm not a fan of that angle. So we'll close our doors now. And we have the signal ahead in our favour. It's taking a little bit of time. Oh, hang on, I know what I haven't done. Hang on, standby. I need... Oops. Why did I do that? There we go. We need to put the train into forward. And now we can power on. So a slightly older model. Slightly different layout for the buttons.
Nächste Station Obereschbach. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien des Stadtverkehrs Bad Homburg. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So from what I've seen so far, and this opinion may change as I go through the other lines, you've got your below ground or your underground or your subway sections, and then you've got your outdoor sections which are all on a dedicated right of way. So we'll have a look outside. And what are we? 1, 2, 3. So we can stop at the H3 spots. Because we're 3 2-car units instead of 4. Alright, so we'll close our doors. And that's what could happen if the fleet aren't exactly the same size. On the way out, on the way out, you could have been in a 4-unit combination, so you have to stop at the H4 markers. Now we've got on a different tram. We didn't take the same one out. Bring the same one back. So we're in a different type of unit, different characteristics, different model, different braking, and you're also in the higher speed above ground section to start with. So those little things could all be factors about how things are different in between units. Sometimes even if you drive the same unit out and back in, it could behave differently at one end compared to the other.
Nächste Station Niedereschbach. Tarifgrenze.
Oh, there's a
Umsteigemöglichkeit
single
zu
car
den
unit.
Buslinien 27 und
So that'd be a
29.
U1, and
Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
he's all the way up the end of the platform. Now, if it's a single H like on the ground there, that means that everything stops there. That's what could happen on the other side. That's what could be happening on the other side. It could be a H, a single H, so it stops everywhere. I should say, every unit stops there, regardless of size. If it's a single H, put it in H. You know, it's not a small system, and it's amazing that the whole system is modelled in the one piece of DLC. This is Train Simulator. As opposed to Tram Sim, which I'll give you a preview of at the end of this episode. Acceleration is really quick, even if you are going uphill. Now the funny thing is, I actually haven't spent a lot of time in Frankfurt, or I don't think I even went on the trams or on the U-Bahn in Frankfurt. I was only basically there for the afternoon, so I walked around the CBD, the Central Business District. I was actually staying in Amsterdam at the time, and on a particular Saturday, because there was a couple of days where I was in Amsterdam, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I feel like going on a long distance or an international train ride today. Now for me...
Nächste Station, Bonnamies Mitte. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 27. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now for me, being an Australian, international train travel is a novelty. So I remember the, okay, we're a H3, so we can pull up here. International rail travel on the same train is a novelty. So I remember the first time I woke up in Amsterdam and I felt like having a train day. I just went down to Amsterdam Central and I booked a seat on the first train that I could get on, which was, and then I could just do it easy, a couple of hours each way, and that was to Brussels in Belgium. And then the next day, or a couple of days later, I remember I woke up on the Saturday and I'm like, where can I go today? And so I think I actually might have looked this one up, and it was a direct train from Amsterdam to Frankfurt on an ICE.
Nächste Station, Karlbach. Sie befinden sich in einem Zug der Linie U2. Zur Weiterfahrt in Richtung Genheim mit der Linie U9 bitte hier umsteigen. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 28 und 29. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So it was a direct trip on the way to Frankfurt in an ICE. which involved, I think, 1 or maybe 2 changes of direction. And then on the way back, the train that I selected there were no direct trains on the way back, so there was one where I had to do a couple of transfers. And the way that it worked it out was it was a fairly local train for the last journey into Amsterdam, and the way it sort of worked out was that there was a big, basically an hour's wait. So I'd arrive on one train, and the way that the connection worked out with the through ticketing worked out that I was actually on the next train in an hour's time. The actual reality of that was that the train before was waiting for us, and so I was able to get on that train straight away, not wait for the hour, and actually, so I was in Amsterdam an hour earlier than what I'd planned. Because the ticketing system basically didn't work out that I was doing basically a 0-minute connection. But it worked out.
Nächste Station, Redwiese, Mertonviertel. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
It was basically the same platform. Get off one train, the other train was waiting. So everyone that was on the train going to Amsterdam and intermediate points got on it. You know, the direct trip was better, and it was, you know, it was an ICE, so that was better, but it was a little bit of local-ish train travel in the Netherlands, so that worked out well. Oops, wrong way, wrong way. Lucky that the braking's good. Oh, we might have one door off. Let's have a look. Yep, one door off, which wasn't too bad considering I was still powering when I arrived on the platform. Alright, close the doors.
Nächste Station, Sandelmühle. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 29. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
40km/h section coming up. So I'm preparing for that. So a U1 tram has just arrived.
Nächste Station, Heddernheim. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Linie U1 in Richtung Genheim, zur Linie U3 in Richtung Oberursel-Hohe Mark oder zur Linie U8 in Richtung Riedberg vom gegenüberliegenden Bahnsteig, sowie zur Buslinie 60. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Further. Still, I wouldn't say struggling, but still adjusting to the different powering characteristics.
Nächste Station, Weißer Stein. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur S-Bahn-Linie S6 sowie zu den Buslinien 63, 66 und 69. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Let's go. Another size speed section.
Nächste Station, Lindenbaum. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So there's a U2 train next to us, but it's not going all the way.
Nächste Station, Hügelstraße. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 39 und 69. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now, it can be dangerous using a train on an opposite track as a visual reference point, because here the two platforms aren't opposite each other. So if you're looking from a distance and go, oh yeah, there's the station, but in reality the station's before it. There's a U3. Stop. I don't think I even want to look, do I? Obviously, I don't have selective door opening. I don't think I can. No, I don't think I can actually. Oh, yes, I can. I can unlock. I'm going to try that at the next stop. So we'll have to keep that in mind, that we can actually just release the doors.
Nächste Station, Fritz-Tarnow-Straße. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually just release the doors or unlock them. Some of the doors have opened and some of them haven't. So we'll get in. Alright, we've got our little green light, so let's go.
Nächste Station Dortbusch, Hessischer Rundfunk. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 34 und 64. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
There was an indicator for the points which was showing that we couldn't go through them. Yeah, we couldn't go through them because we would have went onto the other track because we already had the straights route set. But it was showing the route off to the left that we couldn't go down, and that was totally understandable. So we've certainly got a lot of other vehicles, this one on the UA, a lot of other vehicles coming in the opposite direction.
Nächste Station Maxwell Allee, Polizeipräsidium. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Buslinien 32 und 64. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now, what I also have to look at is that in some areas the carriage or the train markers, the H4s, etc., are in between the rails, and here they're elevated, so I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Nächste Station Holzhausenstraße, Unicampus Westend. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 36. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Reduced nicely. In fact, I overcompensated in the end. That tram next to us came in quite hard.
Nächste Station Grünburgweg. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts. Station Eschenheimer Tor. Umsteigemöglichkeit zur Buslinie 36. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Just a bit too hot coming into there. That's the front of my train. Actually, it wasn't too bad under the circumstances.
Nächste Station Hauptwache Zeil. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den S-Bahn-Linien S1 bis S6, S8 und S9 sowie zu den U-Bahn-Linien U6 und U7. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Now for me it makes more sense to be near the escalator, even though the H3 car marker is a car behind me.
Nächste Station Willy-Brandt-Platz. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den U-Bahn-Linien U4 und U5 sowie zu den Straßenbahnlinien 11 und 12. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
A little bit further apart for this one, just under a kilometre. Which will be our second last stop.
Nächste Station Schweizer Platz, Museumsufer. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Straßenbahnlinien 15 und 16. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung links.
maybe this one on my left. I've really tried to make an effort the last couple of stops not to go out as hard. So this is like half power.
Nächste Station, Südbahnhof. Fahrtende, bitte aussteigen. Umsteigemöglichkeit zu den Regional- und Fernzügen, zu den S-Bahn-Linien S3 bis S6, zu den Straßenbahnlinien 14 und 16, zu den Buslinien 45, 47, 48, 61 sowie zu den Regionalbussen.
So again, it's showing us as not in service now. So we'll go into the tunnel. Close our doors. And go slowly into the tunnel. And we'll basically finish up where we started from on this episode. I thought that this episode wouldn't take as long based on the times on the main menu. They were clearly wrong. But I hope you have enjoyed the episode. We'll go into the tunnel, we'll terminate the train, and next time we'll go on a different route, probably the U3. Go on a different route, the Year 3. What we'll do in a moment when we pull up, I will give you a sneak preview of the Vienna tram in case you haven't seen it, and that will give you a different point of view. Don't forget to subscribe Simulated Erk on YouTube, and lots of different playlists, including the tram playlist Ding Ding Ding. So we have arrived. I will say see you later, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Hintere Zollamtstraße. Umsteigen zu O in Richtung Ragsstraße.
Burgtheater.